This is Sayyam Joshi from ABC News. Today's breaking news is coming from the Gold Coast. It's been heard that Scoot Airlines cutting flights returns to the Gold Coast. A huge blow to the Gold Coast tourism sector as it rebounds from COVID with an international airline cutting flights to the city. Scoot Airline is ending its direct flights between the Gold Coast and Singapore from July. It comes just 1 year after the budget airline made its return to the city post pandemic. The route currently runs 4 times a week, serving thousands of customers. Prior to the pandemic, Scoot served close to 130,000 travelers between Singapore and Gold Coast in 2019 alone. Mayor Tom Tate says he wouldn't provide to decision made by Scoot. I am surprised because I was a party to putting that deal together, Mayor Tom Tate says. If there was something I could have done it, I would have done it. A spokesperson for the Gold Coast Airport has admitted to the ABC News that it's disappointing, but they are focusing on new connections. Scoot has been a valued partner of the Gold Coast for more than a decade, delivering over 1 million travelers between Singapore and a wonderful region. We share the disappointment of our tourism partners and passengers who have been benefited from Scoot Airlines. Scoot Singapore to Gold Coast flights, however, travels will soon be applied to Southeast Asian countries. We will be welcoming Virgin Australia's Gold Coast to Bali route to a newly expanded terminal from 29 March. AirAsia's ex-popular Gold Coast to Kuala Lumpur route will resume on 1st April. Scoot Airline has told ABC that they apologize for the inconvenience caused. Scoot will be suspending flight services between Singapore and the Gold Coast after 17 July 2023 as they are adjusting the capacity and optimizing resources in response to demand, a spokesperson says. Australia remains an important market to Scoot, and they are committed to connecting travelers between Australia and other parts of the world. Scoot will continue to operate 10 times weekly flights between Singapore and Melbourne, 12 times weekly flights between Singapore and Perth, 10 times weekly flights between Singapore and Sydney. Scoot's customer service team is reaching out to all affected customers with existing bookings made directly with Scoot to offer them refunds. For booking made through travel agents or partner airlines, customers are advised to contact their travel agents or purchasing airline for assistance. That's it for the local international news. Thank you.
Now for the international news. Tourism Australia launches campaign in China as COVID-19 restrictions ease. Tourism Australia will launch a campaign to lure back Chinese tourists after years of hostility between two governments and the coronavirus pandemic pummeled the $12 billion sector. Tourism was put at the center of Beijing's threat of economic recession at the height of diplomatic tensions in 2021. Former ambassador warned at the time that Chinese tourists may not return to Australia because of its stance on human rights, national security, and an inquiry into coronavirus pandemic. But officials are now moving to target the Chinese market as operators of North Queensland to Perth struggle to regain the international visitors that used to make up to 50% of the businesses. Tourism Australia Managing Director Philippa Harrison is due to land in Guangzhou on Wednesday. We and our colleagues in the Australian tourism industry miss our Chinese friends very much, she told to Chinese state media reporter before flying out. Harrison said a Don't Go Small, Go Australia campaign would capitalize on Chinese travelers' wishes to visit friends and relatives, as well as on the pent-up demand for these 3 years of corona restrictions. These meetings and this initial campaign will be crucial as we build up to the launch of a major campaign in China in the middle of the year, Harrison told to ABC News. Chinese travelers starting to return to Australia now is the right time to visit our number one tourism market and meet with our long-lasting partners. Before COVID-19, 1.4 million Chinese tourists visited Australia each year, accounting for 15% of the market. Tourism Australia estimates that Chinese demand will not return to that level until 2026. Harrison said Chinese tourists would now apply for visas online, and the agency would also launch a bespoke WeChat program. Beijing has been consciously reopening its borders, but geopolitical tension and past pandemic restrictions have lingered longer there than in many other places in Asia. Visas for Australia tourists to China must be submitted in person and by mail. Travelers also need to obtain a green health code through a PCR test submitted to the embassy. The Department of Foreign Affairs has also told Australian travelers to exercise a high degree of caution when traveling to China. Authorities have detained foreigners on grounds of endangering national security, it says on its Super Traveller website. Australians may be at risk of arbitrary detention. China warns that there could be a change ahead and Australian business and jobs could be on the line. Harrison is the latest in the queue of Australian businesses and government leaders to head to China as other improvements in the relationship begin to appear. Sanctioned Australian lobster exporters have seen their export licenses recently approved for the first time in years, and thousands of tons of Australian cottons have reportedly landed in Shandong province. A rebound in coal export is also looking promising. That's all for the international news today. Thank you.